Beginning from the finished drawing of the section, we are now in a position to create the bodies and components for the slider component. The slider component is a component of components. So the slider itself is a component, but it is constituted by 3 other components, as we shall see. We begin by extruding the bodies of the slider. Create extrusion. We are given this option to select the bodies, to select the section, to select the cross section for extrusion. So we select this and this. Those are the 2 cross sections. And then we are starting from the profile plane where we are extruding in both directions. So we are choosing symmetric, and we are taking a distance. We are taking the distance of 200 millimeters in each direction, no taper angle, and we are creating a new component. So that is the first component. If we're happy with that, we'll click OK. In order to get the second component, we have to turn on the sketch again. So to get the second component, we create extrude as before. Extrude. Select the cross sections for extrusion. Then profile plane, both sides symmetric. 200, 200. And then we are creating a new component. That's okay. Lastly, we decide to select that one and we create an extrusion on it. And it's already selected, both sides symmetric, distance of 200, and we create a new component, and that's okay. So, if we want to take a closer look at it, this is it. Now, this body as it stands is still not very useful. Even though we have 3 components now, and what we are going to do with this is that we are going to create an assembly that will define the motions that are possible. Right now, every motion is possible. For instance, you can pick the middle slide and bring it out and move it anywhere you like. This is undesirable because it passes through these other solid objects as if they did not exist. What we would like is a situation where the bodies and components are constrained to move in a realistic way, bearing in mind that there are other solid bodies around them. Don't forget that Fusion 360 is just a drawing. So it is for us to now implement and enforce constraints that will make it move like a real body that we are used to in reality. That is what we are going to try to do now. And in order to do that, we are going to implement what we call joints inside the assembly process. So we take assembly and we select as built joint. In as built joint, we are prompted to select the components involved. This is the first one, and this is the second one. So we have selected 2 components. So there will be, and then we have to select what kind of origin mode. It will be we are selecting a slider motion, and it will be between 2 faces. To be between 2 faces, so for it to be between 2 faces, we have to select the planes of motion. To select the planes of motion, one way to do it is to turn off this first component and select this plane of motion. And then we want to select the second one, so we turn this one off and turn this one on, turn this off. So if we rotate this, this is the plane of motion that we want. So we have selected 2 planes of motion, and that we can go back home and turn both of them on. And so we have 2 components selected, 2 planes of motion selected. Then the snap point of this motion could be maybe a point like here, and then the motion should be along the x-axis. Right now, we have not selected the maximum and minimum motions. So we are going to select the maximum displacement that is allowed. So I put that as 200. So if that is okay, so we can now test this joint. Test the joint. By animating it. Animate the joint. So that is the only kind of motion, relative motion, that will now be possible between those two elements. It will no longer accept the kinds of motion we made before. So we can stop that. We want to do the same thing for the remaining two slides, for the other surface, the meeting surface. So the first thing to do is to switch off the first two, and then if we create an assembly, now it's as built assembly, and then we select components, this component and this component. So two components have been selected, and then to select the surfaces, to select the snap, we can select the point here as the snap, and then we now select the surfaces for the meeting, the motion surfaces. So this is one, and then if we turn that off and turn this on and look at it at the bottom, rotate. This is the second one, and then for snap, okay. So x-axis, we're okay. Maximum distance 200. If everything is okay now. So we can test the second sliding motion. Animate the joint. So that is it.